Hello, good evening. My name is Tabs, and welcome to episode 60 of the Grove Podcast. I hope you're all doing relatively fine this evening. It's about 10 p.m. here. We're having a bit of a late one, having a drink and maybe drowning our sorrows. So look, I hope you're doing well wherever you're listening from. So and when I say we, joining me today is Ian. So Ian, how are you? And how's the gig you've just come back from?
Yeah, one of the reasons I'm good, Tabs, thanks. One of the reasons why we're starting late is I had a gig today after the game. I literally had to turn the TV off after full time and go straight out to the gig, which was good fun. People do ask me when I put up my itinerary on Twitter, people say, how do you afford to go to all these Arsenal games? And now, number one, Ryanair and Premier Inn do a solid job in providing cheap flights and hotels. But I do gig every now and again, not full time, but all the money that I make from the gigs I use to pay off my season ticket and some of these trips, so I literally sing for the Arsenal.
Very, very, very good, very good. And I hope you're able to take out some of your frustration on the instruments you were playing today.
Yeah, so, somebody got a guitar on the back of the head,
smashing up a few amplifiers and going all rock and roll, sort of thing. So very good. Or maybe we'll talk about that another time. But for now, we're going to move on with the talking about that very frustrating 1-1 draw away to Fulham, a draw that I think a lot of us really feels like a loss. And then in part two, we'll preview the Champions League game, Matchday 6 against Monaco on Wednesday evening. So yeah, look, I mean, actually for me, before we get into it, actually this weekend, we put up the decorations. So we were all feeling a little bit Christmassy. You know, there's some fun results yesterday. I finished work for the year tomorrow, and so I was feeling all good until today happened, and I was feeling even better as we talk about our highlights and our lowlights. So I'll start off with the highlights. So yeah, I was feeling good, and then the highlight. Yeah, there weren't that many actually to talk about. So for me, and I we haven't compared notes, but I've got a feeling both our highlights and lowlights may be very similar, and that's okay. My highlight was Saliba's goal. Again, from a corner kick, good corner kick. To be honest, Havertz should have scored direct, but luckily enough, Saliba was there again to score his second in 2 days. And I thought, right, that's it. We're back in. We're back on. This is it. Let's go ahead and win the game. So that was my highlight. So before we get to the lowlights, what was your highlight for the game?
Yeah, mine was the Saliba goal, but a particular element of it, because I was laughing at myself. What happened was I was looking at the TV, and when they put up the still, because it was checked obviously for offside, and when they put up the still, the defender's leg, which was obviously was the thing that kept Saliba onside, from just whatever way I was looking at the TV, I thought it was Saliba's arm. It was they had the white sock on obviously for the Fulham defender, and I thought it was like an Under Armour like kind of white top. So I was like, well, that's definitely offside, and I was kind of really annoyed. And then I looked close and I was like, oh no, that's the defender's leg. So it was the surprise. I had like mentally ruled it out in my head, but then I was like, no, I'm just an idiot. So yeah, that element of the goal.
I would like to say,
yeah, don't go there.
Don't go there. And what was your low light from the game? I'm sure there's quite a few to choose from, but what was your low light?
There was a good few to choose from. What I picked was just that Jesus chance. I mean, it really annoyed me that it was just there for him. Maybe he thought it was going straight to the goalkeeper. Maybe the wind held it up. But all he had to do was literally, I don't even think, some people are saying he just had to throw himself at it. I think he timed to just put his foot out, control it, and, side foot it past, or he could have gone first time. But he's just so bereft of any confidence that it's just baffling how much he's fallen. We'll talk about it later on. But that was my low light, because it was just there for him, and he didn't grab it.
No, I agree. That was one of the ones I was potentially going to choose. And actually, I think the wind holding up was actually helping him, because otherwise it would have sailed into Leno's hands. So it was there to be got. And just be brave, man. Just we're challenging for a title. We can't, So that strikes me as more mentally he's gone, or he's shot. I don't know. There's something not right with him. Again, I feel sorry for him because of the injuries. Because I said before the injuries, he was great, and and where that player has gone, but now he's a busted flush, as they say. You know, when we need him most, when we're flogging Havertz to death, he's playing every game, every minute. We can't give Havertz a rest. We need players like Jesus to step up and offer us. And they just look. I know it's hard. You're a sub and you coming on and 10 minutes here, 15 minutes there. You know, but he's a 27-year-old professional, and maybe, you know, who's played for championship winning teams, and maybe mentally he can't handle the current situation. So he's annoyed with his own body, he's annoyed with his situation, and sometimes, you know, the brain and body just aren't in sync, or that it's just he's on a, you know, they say negative spiral or something like that. So I sort of feel for him, but you know, we're in a business that we need to get results, and he's not providing that. So it's I think we can talk about it a little bit later, but yeah, that was horrible, and I think there was a lot of people shouting at the TV at that moment. For me, my low light was the disallowed goal. I mean, it was rightly given off. It was offside. You know, I was out of the seat celebrating, sort of like, you know, just think, right, you know, great, a late goal, good on you. You know, we got through this. But then he was offside. Now, you know, he shouldn't have been offside. You know, of course, he's looking across the line. He should stay onside. People have said that Timber maybe delayed in giving him the pass and could have given it sooner. You know, but you're looking, he shouldn't be offside. But my sort of take on that is a bit like the butterfly effect. Had he got himself onside, then there's no guarantee then all the rest of the stuff would have happened, because yeah, it's just a matter of like meters or centimeters or inches or whatever it is, just timing seconds. You know, he may not have got the same cross in, Saka might not have arrived at the same time. So had he been onside, who knows what would have been the consequences. But you know, if we're taking the butterfly effect out, then Martinelli should really be onside, and we should be winning that game 2-1. But it wasn't to be, and it was. Yeah, another thing to add to the frustration of the day, which was a frustrating day. So, and starting that frustration, if we look at the lineup, we were really hoping for Gabriel or Calafiori to be back in the team, but they weren't, which meant we had to rejig things. So Partey played at right back, Timber switched to left back, which wasn't so bad because I think that was to cover Traore. But then Jorginho played it right, and then I think it was obvious that Trossard was going to come on. So rather than Martinelli. So how did you feel about that lineup when you saw that?
Yeah, again, a little bit kind of gutted that the two boys, or even one of them, weren't back, and then we had the extra thing to deal with of Zinchenko not being available as well. So like we're just jinxed when it comes to the defenders at the moment. Earlier on in the season, it was the other way around. We had our solid base when we were missing some kind of people further up the field, and yeah, I understood Jorginho coming in because Partey was in at right back. I have thoughts on all of that we'll probably go into a bit later. Like, I don't know if it's a wise thing. Now, Arteta's a much better, much more clever and better manager than any of us will ever be. But moving so many people around when there's probably simpler solutions. I don't know, but I think we knew that Trossard, well, not new, but we both felt in the last pod that Trossard was going to start ahead of Martinelli, which he did. So yeah, other than kind of being a little bit disappointed about the defenders, the lineup wasn't a huge surprise. Tabs, I can't hear you. Are you on mute?
You know what? I am indeed. Sorry, let me say that again. I was on mute because I didn't want. I was drinking and I didn't want to hear it. Sorry. So I was going to say. So yeah, what would you have him do in instead? And that's not a pointed question. It's just like, okay, so if you're not thinking playing Partey at right back and Timber at left back is the solution, what alternatives do you think he has available to him?
Well, I was, as we all are, all in WhatsApp groups, and I was. I'll give a guy a shout out. A mate of mine, his name is Mick Trimble, and he's at Dubs for Sammy on X. But he said something to me that I think makes a lot of sense. That, like, if he had more trust in, say, somebody like Miles Lewis-Skelly, now to be fair, maybe in this game because he was injured, he was only back on the bench. But putting somebody like Miles Lewis-Skelly in at left back in a game where we were expected to have a hell of a lot of possession. You can then leave Timber in at right back, and you have your right side pod working well. Saka had no backup really when we were going forward with Partey. Partey's not that type of player. Obviously, he doesn't do the Ben White things. He doesn't do the Timber things. He does a solid job at right back, but then it's just too many moving parts. And then Jorginho has to come in because Partey's not in the midfield. I just think we would like, if you make one change and bring in one, it'd be a risk. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that it would go perfectly well, but if you just bring in one person in at left back, you don't have to change everything. And maybe that would have worked a bit better. I don't know.
No, I hear you. And there was chat in our WhatsApp group the same. It is a toughie because actually he's more of a midfielder than the left back, so he's learning the left back trade. He's 17 years of age, and yeah, it's hard to know. You think, okay, we're going to be on the front foot majority of the time. You know, we're not going to be doing a huge amount of defending, and we didn't have to do a huge amount of defending. So you're right. Yeah, I think Arteta's one for senior players. So I missed it. Actually, I didn't really see the bench. It was Tierney on the bench. I didn't even notice if Tierney was on the bench.
Tierney was, yeah, and it could have been Tierney as well.
Yeah. Yes,
and to be fair, and just to finish off, like, to be fair, with Kivior there as well, maybe it'd be unfair to bring somebody like Lewis Skelly or Tierney in with somebody beside him like Kivior. I get it, but would it have gone as bad as it would have today, as it did today? Should I say?
No, well, yeah. I mean, my feeling on that is look. I think I think having Timber, Saliba, Kivior, and Partey, or if we'd have had Miles Lewis Skelly or Tierney or whatever, it just I don't think defensively it would have made too much of a difference. I think we were always going to be on the front foot. The main one of the issues was always going to be dealing with Traore and. Sorry, technical issue there. We're restarting. So look, the thing is that for me is our attack is odd. Our attack is predicated on our fullbacks being available. And the fullbacks playing in a certain way. We know how we want Calafiori to play. We know how we want Timber or White to play. And so our attacking threat, either down the left pod or the right pod, is very much dependent on our fullbacks, and especially the right triumvirate of Saka, Odegaard, and Ben White or Timber. So yeah, you're right. If you put Partey there, then all of a sudden it goes from a 3 to a 2 because Partey doesn't offer the same sort of thing. So I think what happened was that. So there wasn't any issue defensively, but it just really made a difference to our attacking play, not having our fullbacks. And that's 4 or 5 senior fullbacks. And so I think the point was Arteta's one on trust, and he trusts his senior players. So I think Zinchenko would have played today, and I think that would have been fine because then you would have Timber on the right. I think the biggest threat would have been maybe Traore, but to be honest, all he does is run like Forrest Gump, and his quality of passes is terrible. So I still don't think there would have been too much of an issue there. So I just think the big issue is that with those injuries is just it has a knock-on effect on us attacking wise more than it does defensively. And then today that showed.
Yeah.
That really showed. So what was your overall reaction to actual the game, the way we played, the way it played out? Just what was your general consensus of what you saw over the 90 minutes?
Yeah, we were very, very lackluster. There was too many key players were below par, and when that happens, the team doesn't perform and you don't get the results. There were some moments like we had a huge amount of possession. Like even, I don't think Fulham touched the ball before they scored, and there were moments in the game where we showed little flashes. But in general, I just thought there was too many like subpar performances from too many players, nearly all of them, to be fair. There's only 1 or 2 I thought that kind of stood out, but it's just it's so frustrating because the talk obviously with the Liverpool game being postponed was that we could get it down to 4 points and put pressure on them, and we just couldn't deliver, and it just really, really frustrated me.
No, I agree. It frustrated you, and it frustrated Arteta. He said, "Look, I'm gutted that we didn't win. win it, because I think we absolutely deserved to win the match from the beginning to the end. We did almost everything that we had to do to win it. But this is the quality of the opposition. With one chance, they score a goal. And then the margins of the league as well, which are millimetres, 4 millimetres. You know, we could be sitting here with 3 points after a very strong, dominant performance against a really, really good team. And that's how the team feels. And in terms of dominance, okay, so let's talk statistically. You know, over the game, it was 67% to 33%. You know, 1.93 XG to 0.014. You know, they had 2 shots, we had 12. 2 on target. We had 4 big chances. Yeah, you know, and I think that tells the story. And I think what this really, I don't think we played badly per se, and we were dominant, but there was a lot of passive domination. It was very sort of slow, very laboured, very, you know, it was very risk free, and it was quite easy to defend against. It was all in front of Fulham. So even though it may look like you're dominating, you know, that gives you a full sense of security. You think, oh, this is going to be easy and stuff like that. You know, so yeah, and this is where, you know, we then had those chances, and I think we were the frustration and the annoyance comes because we had chances to win this, and we didn't take them. There were 3 or 4 clear-cut chances, and we will go through that could have given us the victory. But then also we're leaving ourselves exposed to those margins, as Arteta said. You know, the Jimenez's goal was an XG of 0.03, and they score, and that seems to be the story of our season. It's just that if anyone's going to score, they're going to score. There's no, you know, a 1 in 100 chance they'll be the one. It just seems to be consistently happening against us. It happened against Southampton, I think against Leicester, even the Chelsea one. We always seem to be on the wrong end of the marginal goals. And look, they are going to go in because that's what happens. But it just seems to be consistently. It's fine once every now and then, that's okay. But every game seems to have a marginal thing going against us. And when our attacking line is not firing, we are exposing ourselves to those margins. We need to score 2 or 3 goals now to guarantee a win, because we aren't winning 1-0 anymore. We are letting in those goals rightly or wrongly, and so therefore those margins are just always going against us, and it's about our attacking options. Today really exposed our lack of attacking options, especially when they're not on form. I mean, what did you think of the attack that we had today? You know, we had the Havertz, you know, Saka was there, Trossard, Jesus came on. You know those. You know, I'm talking about like the front 3 type options. You had Martinelli. You know, yeah. Give me your thoughts on how what they meant to the team or what they didn't mean to the team.
Yeah. The team in general had a lot of sterile possession, and when the front line isn't firing, it doesn't work out in the end for us. We have a situation now where we have 6 attackers, and you can only really say one of them is kind of proper top notch at the moment, and that's Bukayo Saka. The rest of them are in kind of fits and starts, are doing well, and have won us games. But when you look, well, Sterling's just no use to us at all. Jesus is a shadow of the man he used to be, and like as you said earlier on, he's 27. You would think he has like 1 year left of professional football in him, that the way he's playing at the moment. Havertz didn't have a great game today. He was very, very frustrating. The scuffed shot that he had wasn't pretty. But we know that these guys can play. You know, it just didn't click today. It was just, just a lot of sterile possession without any teeth. We were toothless today.
And it's sort of frustrating. It's not like there's an immediate solution either. So these are sort of long-standing issues. Either our recruitment wasn't right in the summer, or players are just inconsistent. It's not always linear. I said we talked about Martinelli, his trajectory, and he sort of plateaued for a bit, and then when you compare him to like Saka, who's always on an upward trajectory, it's hard. Havertz offers a huge amount to the team, but again, he's fits and starts in terms of scoring. He's an amazing player, and I love him in the team. But is he your clinical centre forward? He's more of a 10 than a 9. You know, Trossard plays well for a couple of games, then he's off, and Martinelli plays well for a couple of games, then he's off. Yeah, Jesus is a busted flush, and I think we talked about it. don't know what to do with him. What can you do with him? But that for me, the problem is it's all compounding, a bit like the defenders. You keep losing defenders, so you have the compound effect. So you're playing more, people don't get a rest, etc., etc. You don't have that opportunity to take players in, put them, take players out, put players in. You can't swap things up when things are. And the same's happening in the forward line. We need to give, maybe we need to give Havertz like a bit of a rest. But who are you going to put in there? I guess now Trossard would be the choice over Jesus. And with Jesus, people can forgive, or fans can forgive, quality if he's not quite there with the quality, or he's missed this, or he's done that. But when your attitude is wrong, that's when the fans can turn on you, and I think they're very close to turning, because it just feels like he's in a sulk and he's grumpy, he's pissed off, and yeah, he could be rightly so. Look, these are human beings, and he's an emotional guy, and he seems to show that on the pitch, but not putting your head in where it hurts, as they say sometimes, being selfish or just I think that will where the fans turn. Now we can be tolerant and patient despite what our WhatsApp groups are like, but it is. It's hard, and some of the victories that we've had maybe mask some of these things, and all these set pieces, which are valid goals and we're great at them, maybe have masked some of these issues. And I think it's always been under the underlying surface, and then games like today is what brings it to the surface. And how do we resolve it? I think it's really bizarre. If our fullbacks were fit, I do not think we'd be having this discussion. I think Martinelli would be in a better position. I think Trossard would be in a better position. I think Havertz would be in a better position. I think Saka would be. It's a bizarre one that would, again, I think our fullbacks dictate, and I think we saw it at the beginning of the season. I think that's Arteta's plan, and it's just it's one of those things. And so we're not trying to sugarcoat this. This was a poor performance in the first half, better in the second, and we're not trying to put lipstick on a pig, as they say. But when things just are not going your way, things just don't go your way, and that's how I see it. So I'm not going to shit on everyone, but it's a balance between that was poor, but I can also understand what's poor, and it's how do we resolve it? That's the big question.
Yeah, it wasn't. It was poor, but it wasn't like really really bad. It wasn't awful, and there were some decent signs throughout the game. We did create chances. Our XG wasn't the worst, and as you say, just the marginal gains are going against us, and they have all season. We haven't had our Goldilocks team out at all ever. This season we haven't had our. I don't think I can't remember one game where we had our proper starting 11. Now I know there's more to Arsenal than the starting 11, but you know what I mean, our strongest lineup, and but I just think today we were off it in many ways, and I suppose in some ways that's not a good thing, but at least we're just, as I said, I was posting some tweets earlier on that we're much better than this, and we know we are, and it's not as though we're back in the days where we were poor, but just because we had a really poor team and a poor squad, we just need some people to step up, as you say, and show a bit of fight, and today it just didn't happen.
Yeah, no, we are missing, that one player who can just pick the ball up, take on 3 or 4 players and bang it in, or as well as Saka. If Saka's not doing it, we're always relying on Saka to sort of pull out these plays, and we need other players to do that. I mean, as I said, look, if we look at that first half, it was a bit like Man United. I think that was more to do with Man United in the Man United game, but today I think we're average, slow. Again, dominance and control, but it was sterile, passive, all in front of Fulham. The only time that it did get exciting was that chip over the top for Declan Rice. And we said, wow, there was something different there. But and there was a few nearly moments. Oh, there was a nearly this and a nearly that. And I don't know, it just wasn't, and I felt like a lot of the time also, I feel with our shooting, we're always waiting for that, but you said the word Goldilocks, I think we're always waiting for that perfect chance to shoot. Sometimes just have a go, have a shot, As much as I love Odegaard, I think he always waits for open space. Sometimes not speculative, and there has to be a balance between that and then what Partey does on occasion, where he just hoofs it over from 30 yards. But I think sometimes we can just take a shot, ricochet. Who knows what can happen? So, look, if we take through that first half, I think it was like first 10 minutes, a stat came up was 29 passes for Arsenal in the final third, none for Fulham. And then the next stat is 1-0. 1-0 Fulham.
Yeah.
So what were your thoughts on the goal?
Yeah.
In the 11th minute.
Like sometimes, the opposition score a good goal. Like there was good movement from Jimenez. Kivior didn't cover himself in glory. We shouldn't be undone that easily. The ball in behind. Kivior had a very similar situation against who was it recently? Sorry, against Liverpool. I was at that game, and it was very, very similar. It was just kind of put in behind him, and he didn't really know he was twisting and turning himself, and just kind of lost his man. But still, like as you say, it was 0.03 XG. You said, was it? Like it was a hard chance. When it very first went in, I thought Raya should have done better, and maybe he still should have. I don't think he was covering his far post enough. Now, like it did go in against the side netting. It was kind of tucked into the corner, but a tiny bit you'd kind of look at Raya there. But from their perspective, it was a brilliant goal. Jimenez did really well, but from ours, just it wasn't great.
Yeah, I think Kivior was a bit exposed there. He was basically he was indecisive. You either drop back. So there's a couple of things he could have done, but he did nothing. And then again, and then that also then meant Saliba had to come across, but he was delayed because he was maybe expecting Kivior to deal with it. Maybe better anticipation from Saliba, but because Saliba was indecisive, that gave Jimenez the chance to spin around the blind side, and you just don't let your attacker do that. If you're a defender and you can't see their number, or you can't even see where they are, then you've lost half the battle already. And he either should have just dropped back. So therefore, okay, the Jimenez is running at him, but Jimenez has not got a great deal of pace. He's not going to be tricky or anything. So fine, you can hold up the attacker, you can push him down a channel, you can push him where you want. Or you get right up his arse and get close and disrupt him and make it difficult, just make it hard for him. But he did neither. And then that gave Jimenez the chance, and he got away. And yeah, it was a great finish. Yeah. And then I was thinking the same about Raya far post. But then again, we were saying about the Wan-Bissaka shot that went in. He was covering his near post too much. So, look, he knows his angles, and you've got that arc around the goal where your lines where you do. And I think I put that down to a great finish. But the problem was the fact that Jimenez was able to lose Kivior just far too easily, which is a shame. And again, because one mistake throughout the whole game and one goal, bang, that's it. Again, you're punished. And
as you say, maximum punishment. It's happened so much this season.
And we keep conceding. Well, we seem to be conceding a hell of a lot more at the moment. First, so that was the 5th time in 11 games, I think, in the Premier League that we've conceded first. And in the previous, and that's more than in the previous 30 Premier League games. So it's sort of like. And I think Arsenal haven't kept a clean sheet in their last 6 Premier League away games, and that's the longest run under Arteta. When again last season we were doing so well. So I think it speaks to an inconsistent team. It speaks to irregular formations, regular players, and so on. You just don't have that solid, consistent team. And I think that's what that speaks to, and to that. And then also this thing, we're conceding first and we're not scoring goals, you can't win games. It's a very simple equation. And I'm not really great at maths, so but I know that one. And then there was really nothing else. Just a lot of the ball in front. I think there was the Trossard pass over the top to Rice. He shot first time wide. I was happy to see him shoot. And we exposed Fulham's high line, which they were doing. They were keeping the play really congested, but I think that was the only real time that we did that. And then there was a chance in the 39th minute for Rice, inches away from a Saka cross. So again, one of those ones which just didn't fall for us. So there we go. And then, I mean, what were you thinking around the second half? I mean, couldn't get any worse. Were you? How were you thinking that? What did we need to do in the second half other than score a goal? But what were you looking for in the second half then after that first half?
We needed to be much more front-footed in terms of like that Rice chance you just mentioned there. It kind of stood out a bit because like Declan Rice is our number 6, and he's not you expect other players to be making that run, and we just don't do it enough. Like, we haven't created enough open play chances of late, and we're being labelled set piece FC and all that, but it's. You can kind of see where that's coming from now. Like, we're not. I expected in the second half that we would do that a bit more. Now, we were better in the second half. There was no doubt about it. I won't go too deep into the second half because we'll follow the format and go through incidences that happened. But I thought. I don't know if he made the right decision wasn't straight away, but bringing Martinelli on, I thought Trossard was playing quite well. I thought he could have left that a little bit longer, or maybe even put Trossard up top, as you said earlier on, and put Martinelli on the wing. But just in general terms, I just thought we need to be much more creative. Now, it's hard when the likes of Odegaard and even Havertz aren't at the top of their game. You suffer then with your creativity. But that's what I was hoping for. We got a little bit of it, and obviously we got our goal, but just there wasn't enough of it. You're on mute, Tabs.
Oh God, Bennett. Right, it's only because I don't want you to keep hearing me sipping my drink. Sorry. Thank you. I lost my train of thought now. No, anyway. So right, we'll talk through the game. So in the second half, 51st minute, there was a free kick from Rice. And just skidded off the surface, and Partey just couldn't reach it. So it was another one of those nearly moments. A bit like the Rice chance in the first half. And then in the 52nd minute, soon after, we got a corner, and Rice on corners was very good. On free kicks, very bad. Kept on overhitting the free kicks, was just very annoying. Havertz had a free header, and as I said at the beginning, he should really have scored that himself.
Yeah,
and we were just lucky that it lands at Saliba's feet, and he couldn't miss it. So there was a VAR check, but Robinson kept him aside, and we're back in it, and we're all thinking, fine, look, it's not great, but let's kick on from here because Fulham are offering nothing. So there we go, and then we had, you said Trossard was doing well. Well, Trossard there was a decent run by Timber, and Trossard had a shot in the 57th minute, just straight at Leno. There was a Havertz chance, 67. I think he scuffs it wide. I think he should do better. And then the head in hands moment.
Yes.
Sorry, I was leaning back there. That was just thinking about it now. You've got to score. I've got it here in capitals. Partey free header, must score.
Yeah, you have to take those chances in tight margin games like this one, big chances like that. And he had another one against Man United. It kind of came off his shoulder. I don't know if he just loses a little bit of composure in those moments. He mistimed his jump. He just didn't connect with it properly, and it just goes wide of the post. But as you say, he absolutely must score there. Like,
yeah, that was the game for me. When it's like that, just send the ball back where it came from. Now, I'm not talking about back to the whoever passed it to him, but just back to the corner. Just when you're doing that movement, when you're swiping your head right, and look, these guys are professionals, they're excellent headers, and this is what they do all the time. But it's just sometimes it felt like he was trying too hard to make sure, whereas the rest of the goal was just there for him to just head it back down and to there, and it felt like that was the easier thing, and he sort of went for the harder option. So it was and
there was a defender on, like, he was trying to put it into the bottom right hand corner, and there was a defender kind of standing there. Like, it was strange that he went for that one.
Yeah, so that was head in hand, and that was like, oh, is that the game? Is that the one? And then we have the dink over the top by Rice to Jesus on the 76th minute. He hesitates, didn't attack it, needs to be brave, and then Leno just, oh, okay, I love that. Rice had a shot in 78, a shot, which was nice to see. And then in the 88th minute was the offside goal. I mean, Saka did brilliantly to finish it. It was a great cross. We just all, gutted. I think all Arsenal fans were gutting. It was like I think actually the first goal I didn't celebrate properly because I was thinking, who's that onside, offside, onside, offside? And this one I did celebrate properly. I was like dancing around the living room, shouting, and then look. I think after that, I don't think we could lift ourselves. I think that's really hard to lift yourselves from. I think, and then after that, it just got a bit scrappy. There was, Martinelli got a yellow card. You could see the frustrations. There was stuff going on. So I just think after that, we didn't do anything, and we just couldn't lift ourselves. So it was 1 point gained, but it definitely feels like 2 points lost.
The Martinelli yellow card really annoyed me because, look, I understand his frustration. The goal he would have been one of the heroes with the assist. He did well, but that you can't show petulance like that in a world where we've had 2 guys sent off for silly things in terms of the getting. Now nobody else has been booked and it's a whole thing, we know, but about delaying the restart. It even happened today with one of the Fulham players, but I'd say Arteta will take him to task over that yellow card, because a little while later he throws the ball at the back of a Fulham defender. Like, the referee could have easily gone and given him a second yellow for that. It would have been very, very harsh, but the way they treat Arsenal players, he could have easily done that, and that kind of just stood out. It just annoyed me a little bit. Again, I know he was frustrated with what happened, but you can't do that.
No, and that actually killed momentum. I think we got the time added on, but it killed any momentum. And you're right. Funny enough, it was sensible refereeing, but ironically, it was the referee that sent off Declan Rice against Brighton. So, but that was sensible, because you say he could have been sent off for throwing that petulant throw, and he slammed down the ball for the yellow card. And as soon as you saw that yellow card, what are you gaining? I can understand his frustration, and that shows maybe frustration in himself, frustration in the result. It just shows the pressure they're under. But I said 1 point gained, and we have to. We have to move on. We can't, and and now I remember my train of thought now from about 10 minutes ago was if we all looked at the run of results, we all looked at the run of fixtures starting at Forest after the international break, taking us to Man City. We were never going to win every single game. Well, we could do, but I don't think. I think it was 9. I can't remember if it was 10 games. To predict 30 points. That would be beautiful. That would be great, but it's not. So you might draw a couple, you might win one, you might lose one, or something like that. So again, we're unbeaten. It's 1 point more than we had before. And actually, if you compare the results to last year against the teams that we played, the equivalent matches, I think we're only 2 points down, or the 2 or 3 points down on what we did last year. So, those are still important points, but it's not like it's a massive differential. So trying to take some positive is that is that we didn't lose. Hopefully no more fresh injuries, even though Odegaard looked like he was in pain. And then we just have to move on and move on. But before we talk about moving on and to Monaco, let's go through our player ratings as we do, and again I'll kick off. Raya, I gave a 6.5. To be honest, he had not a lot to do. What he did was fine. He wasn't even because Fulham weren't pressing that high. It's not like he had to do many tricky passes or anything like that. So, and I don't think he could do much about the goal. So just an average 6.5. Would you give him?
Yeah, I went 6.5. Nothing further to add. He was fine. Maybe a little bit for the goal, but probably that's harsh. But yeah, 6.5.
Okay. Timber, I gave him a 7. What about you?
I went 7 as well for Timber. Just a shame that he wasn't playing on the right hand side. I think him and Saka and Odegaard would have caused a lot more problems than we did in general. But yeah, 7 for Timber.
Okay. Next up, so Saliba, I gave him a 7.5. That's 2 goals in 2 games for him. His goal should have been the one that got us back into the game and got us, the stepping stone to victory. I think he also had some excellent defensive play. As I said, he's starting to grow rather than shrink. Maybe the only downside is maybe he left too much, on Kivior for the first goal. So maybe he should have been covering better. But overall, I think he stood out in the back line. So 7.5 for him. Your player of the season, Kivior.
I gave Kivior a 6.5. I know he was at fault for the goal, but he was he was kind of solid thereafter. I thought he none of the defenders had a huge amount to do other than that goal. That's what's so frustrating about it. But yeah, I gave him a 6.5.
Okay, so for me, yeah, just a 6. So next up, Barty. I gave him a 6.5. Yeah, he should really have scored that goal. That's why I marked him down. Solid at right back. Just unfortunately, just doesn't offer what other right backs do. He's not an up and down right back. He provides solidity. More of the back three. So Timber is always the one inverting or further forward. So yeah, look, he's playing out of position. He's playing right back. He does a job. You know, and isn't it great? Isn't it brilliant that we have him to be able to do a job and he's fit? Because in other seasons he would have been injured as well. So then we'd be royally screwed. You know. So I'm not going to put him at fault for not doing things that he just doesn't do, and we have to try and find a different way. So again, him being at right back is not the issue. It's more about finding alternatives to when he is there. So that's that. So right, next up, Rice.
Rice, I gave Rice a 7.5. He was one of the better players on the day. We saw that he had some good set pieces. His corners are really good. We should have probably done more. Saliba had a header in the first half as well. Do you remember, like, kind of little glancing header?
Oh yeah.
And he was close. He had that stretched chance as well. But yeah, I thought he was quite good. I thought he was 7.5 for me.
Okay, I gave a 7 just purely because we had opportunity with free kicks and he just kept on over hitting them. Now, I don't know if that was the conditions or things like that, but his delivery is better than that. And so that was another frustration. I think we could have been better. So they call us set piece FC, but it's really corner FC because actually from set pieces we don't actually create a huge amount. So I gave him a 7. Okay. Next up, Jorginho, just a standard solid 6.5. Controlled things. Was always a good option, always available. Doesn't offer much progressively, and he's very safe. But he's a safe pair of hands back there, so you don't miss, not having a Party back there. So I was fine with him.
Yeah, I gave him a 6.5 as well. Nothing further to add.
Yeah. Odegaard, what did you give for Odegaard?
Odegaard, I gave a 7, maybe a generous 7. He was off it. We know he wasn't his usual self. He picked up an injury during the game for sure. Maybe he was even carrying one into the game. You don't know, but he's had a new baby. He probably hasn't slept a wink in the last few days, and it's an emotional time. Obviously, like you do get distracted when when your first child comes along. Yeah, I gave him a 7.
Okay, yeah, I gave him 6.5. Yeah, on that, I think mentally, it can have two ways. You can be really lifted and overjoyed and just like living off adrenaline, like a hyper or caffeine, whatever. So yeah, it's hard to tell what the birth of a child, and congratulations to him and his lady friend. As for, it's weird. I think sometimes maybe when you come back from injury, you maybe have that bit of a high, and then there's this lull. So again, the adrenaline wears off. You're coming in, and then suddenly, so your body's adjusting. So I don't know. I'm just making this up. I'm no biomechanic, whatever. But I think maybe there's also a bit of a lull post injury. He said I think he picked up a knock, but lots of things. So yeah, he wasn't his usual self. Had he had more options with Timber there as well, that might have helped. But so there was lots of things at play here. But 6.5. So next up, Saka, just a 7. I said unlucky with the disallowed goal. Didn't have a huge amount of support. That area of the pitch was so congested. It was so congested. So like here's the ball, now do something. Yeah, we needed to be better than that. He tried hard, good with corners, mixed. Some were a bit short, a bit too low, but not his usual performance. 7, but I think there was mitigating some circumstances. Trossard.
You were thinking of trouser cannons, weren't you?
I wasn't. Trossard. What do you give for Trossard?
I gave a 6.5. No, actually, sorry, I'm looking at somebody else here. I gave Trossard a 7. I thought he was. I thought he was quite good. Some people are saying that he was poor in the first half, but I thought he was one of our kind of better attacking players. He was the most creative, I think, of our attackers. Well, Sakiv close by as well. But I thought he trailed off in the second half. But I still believe, to contradict myself, that I think he should have stayed on a bit longer. I wouldn't have minded seeing him being moved to the 9 and Martinelli come on. Like, he would have been a hell of a lot better. A tired Trossard would have been better than Jesus.
No, I agree. 6.5. Okay. So next up, Havertz. I gave a 6.5. I thought he was a bit isolated, easily marshalled, was a bit off the pace. I think he could have done better with one chance, but he's our centre forward, and that's it. He has one chance, and you need to. So there's either two things: one, you need to take more and have more chances, or two, you need to take your one chance and be clinical. So, not happening for him last couple of games. An important part of our attack, but not fully functioning like the rest. So 6.5.
Yeah, I was the same. He was quite frustrating today, and that scuffed chance summed it up. 6.5.
Yeah. Okay. So next up, Martinelli.
Martinelli, I gave a 6. There were times where, like, Martinelli's becoming a player to me where when I watch him, he gets the ball on the left wing and the camera zooms in on him, and I know exactly what he's going to do. The defenders know what he's going to do. He'll shimmy, he'll shape that he's going to do one thing, and then he'll just pass it to somebody beside him. He'll pass backwards. But there were a couple of times where he kind of got it down to the byline, but then his crossing wasn't great. Like sometimes where he should have hit it low across the box, he hit it high, and the keeper Leno just claimed it. There was other times where the box was congested, and that's when he probably should have hit it high, but he hit it low. I just found him quite frustrating. I gave him a 6. I think I said that already, but yeah, a 6.
Yeah, I gave him 5.5. Yeah, he's either hot or cold and indifferent a lot of the time. Yeah, like you, it's not like when he gets the ball, oh, okay, Martinelli's on it, what's going to happen? You know, and unlike Saka, you think that something's going to happen. So yeah, if something happens, you're now more surprised. Again, it's a shame because he can be a great player, and he has been a great player.
Yeah,
he's just plateaued, and how's he going to get to the next level? What are we going to do with him? I mean, I feel that, if we look at the squad and look at the team and think, okay, look at 11, where's the next place that we can improve on to get a higher profile, better player? I think left wing is a position that we can definitely upgrade upon at the moment with the way he's playing and the way he is, and then he would be a great option like Trossard, and then Trossard sort of ages out, and we have Martinelli there if he's willing to stay there. So I don't want to give up on him yet, but is he what's going to take us to the promised land at the moment? It doesn't look like it. No. Which is a shame because there is a good player in there, and again, maybe he's feeling it as well. All right, next up, your friend and mine, Jesus. So I gave him a 4.5. Comes on, he's a shell of his former self. As you said, injuries may have impacted him, but you still got to show attitude. You still got to show desire, which is everything we thought about him. He was always like a Tasmanian devil who was always around, and now he's just, that's what he's saying, a shell of his for himself. And he really needed to be braver, and that just sums him up at the moment. And as he said, I'd rather have Trossard there. Yeah, but then who else? So I'm stuck. It's a tough one. So I think Arteta's trying to play him sort of into form, but he's not going to. And he started against Forest, and we won that game. So I really don't know. I think a lot of people have had it up to here with him, and I'm sure everyone knows what I mean by that. We do need him, but otherwise we're going to have to do something in the January window. We cannot be relying on him. If we want to, if we're serious, if we're a serious club and want to seriously do something this season, he's either got to suddenly turn into, much better.
Jesus.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Or we need to do something in January and quick, because we can't keep flogging Havertz.
No.
Trossard blows hot and cold. And again, as a person, feel for him, but as a football player and for the club, something needs to happen, and it needs to happen quick.
Yeah, it's a real shame. I remember going to see us play the opening game of the season 2 seasons ago. We played Leicester at home in the first game, and Jesus was sensational. He was like just holding the ball up against defenders 2 feet taller than him, and he was just he got a goal. He was brilliant, and he that guy has just disappeared. It's such a shame.
Yeah. And what did you give him?
I gave him God. I very nearly didn't even give him a
no,
rate.
Not God, Jesus.
I like it, Tabs. Very quick. I gave him a 4. He was just really poor.
Yeah. I felt generous with a 4.5, but and look, we all hark back to that Leicester game, and I think we need to stop, because that is not him. And even half that player would be better. I'd want half that player, but at the moment, I'm really stuck. And I said, we need to do something. I'm not gonna shit on him and call him out, because I don't like to do that. But as I say, in terms of what he offers us from a football perspective, we need a lot more. Okay, so next up, Marino. What do you give from Marino?
Marino, I gave a 6. I mean, he did fine. Not much to report. He had a few good moments. He probably could count himself unlucky not to be starting, but gave him a 6. Did okay.
Yeah, no, me too. And then finally, Waneri, gave him a 6. Wasn't on for a huge amount of time. Looked lively when he was involved. Possibly, I think he should have come on sooner. For Odegaard, I think Odegaard was suffering, and I think, again, given that we were dominating, it's a tough one. We're not playing brilliantly. Do you bring on a 17-year-old to change something? But it's always a tough one. But he came on, he didn't look out. But as always, when he comes on, he never looks out of place. He never seems to look out of his depth, which is a really good thing to say for him. So maybe could, I think, potentially, a bit like when we hung on to Odegaard a bit too long for the Brighton game, and he should have come off a lot earlier because he was injured, and look what happened to us then. I think similar here. I think maybe we could have brought him on earlier. I don't know when he came on. It was about 15-20 minutes to go. I think it's half an hour to go. If Odegaard is struggling, bring him on. I think he's good for half an hour at Fulham.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So there we go. So I think those those numbers reflect, in comparison to what we've done recently. How we feel about how the team played. So, but there will still be a player of the match and a plonker, which might be more of a pillock. But but there we go. So who is your player of the match?
My player of the match was, it could have been Rice or Saliba. I went with Rice in the end. I thought he was very good. His corners again were excellent. Free kicks not so much, as we were saying, but I just thought he was tenacious. Like, again, nobody was excellent and nobody was top notch, but he kind of stood out for me. He was the one, even attacking. He was the one that was kind of making these runs, as we said in the first half. And I went with Declan Rice as my player of the match.
No, okay, for me, I went Saliba. He got a really important goal. Defensive play was pretty good, and I think he stood out when others were shrinking. So he's really sort of stepped up last couple of games, which is really pleasing to see, because I think he had in between the 2 international breaks recently, he had a bit of a down period. He got criticised heavily from performances for France. Some of his own performances for Arsenal weren't great and stuff. But I think now he's come back since the last one, a bit more rested, because I don't think he played all the games. And I think he's really, again, when Big G's out, he's really stepped up. So I think he's done well. So okay. And as for your plonker of the match,
I went with it could have been a number of Arsenal players, and it could have been Jesus, but I went with the commentator. I can't think who was the main commentator for Sky Sports today.
I don't know the main one. I know co-coms was Chris Sutton, and that was almost my low light was Chris Sutton, just because he's everyone's low light.
Yeah. and the funny thing is, a lot of the time, I genuinely watched games on mute. Like, they're just not worth listening to, the commentators and the co-coms. And I know a few people, I think some people were saying online that Neville and Carragher were going along with the set piece FC narrative. But then the commentator in the middle of the game, in the middle of the first half, he said he was talking about Arsenal being set pieces, or set piece FC, and he says it's always just the set pieces these days. And I just thought, what an arsehole. Like, I mean, we, of course, like, of the last 2-3 games, we've been very set piece centered, shall we say? Yes, but like I said in the last pod, there's so much more to us than that. But it was just to me, it was like Sky were in Neville and Carragher's ear to keep this narrative running, and he didn't laugh or anything like that. He just kind of said it and let it. He actually went silent for a second or two, and like it was as though he was told to just plant that out there. Now it's worked because it wound me up something terrible, but he was my plonker of the match for saying that.
Yeah, I think someone Leslie, I can't remember his name, something Bill Leslie, I think maybe. I think that's the main commentator, and co-commentator was Chris Sutton, and I just can't stand Chris Sutton, and there we go. And but then you sent me that where we all saw that the stat that actually in terms of open play goals, I don't know if it's this season or whatever, we're second with X amount. So yeah, look, I'm not going to rise to it. Let's, as Arteta said, we want to be good at everything. Yeah. Why dismiss one element of it? We're not all going to be, look what's happening to Ange Postecoglou, and what's happening to their team at the moment. And he doesn't believe in set pieces, defending or attacking. So there you go. Look, my plonk of the match, and we've mentioned this guy a lot, is Jesus, and just purely because, as I said, just not going for that ball. You need to be brave, show effort, show attitude. That will make up for a lot of the misgivings everyone has at the moment, and rightly so. So so something's not right, and for me, just that one moment stood out, and it was. I will forgive Partey for missing a header. I will forgive Martinelli for being offside. Okay, these are and missing Havertz for missing. When your effort and attitude isn't there, that costs nothing.
Yeah,
then
it's hard to forgive that.
Yeah, I'm not happy with that. Right. Anyway, so let's move on to hopefully happier things. So now we move on to part 2, where we'll look at Monaco at home. So Fulham's done. We move on. We have to move on. We've got Champions League midweek, match day 6. Monaco at home. What are you looking forward to and not looking forward to about the game?
Well, I'm looking forward to hopefully us playing a hell of a lot better than we did today. We should obviously being at home, having home advantage against Monaco, who are they're no shrinking violets themselves. They're doing well in the French league, and they're doing well in the Champions League as well. They're only one spot behind us, but I'm looking forward to the home crowd getting behind us. I'm just hoping after today that the atmosphere isn't too flat. I hope the crowd get behind the team, which I'm sure they will. And so looking to hopefully see that. What am I not looking forward to? That's a good question. I'm not looking forward to, maybe hearing commentators go on again about this bloody set piece FC. Maybe I will watch that game on mute.
Well, if it was on Prime's good. It gives you the option to can have the crowd sound, but not the content. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I didn't realize that the first Champions League game I watched against PSG. I didn't realize that, and then the second one, somebody had said it, and I was like, no way, because I've been saying for years I would pay Sky extra money if they just had sound only, and they got rid of all those idiots that to be commentating, and so Prime are good for that. Yeah,
very good. Okay, so what I'm looking forward to, I think the team showing up. I think a European night will be a bit different. The opposition would be different. Yeah, it'll just have a different sense to it, different atmosphere. I'm just looking forward to. Well, I'll be at the game, and I think it'll be just another good Champions League night at the Emirates. And I think we will do well. And I think we'll have a bit of some freshened up lineup in places. I'm trying to figure out where, but I think we will. So I think it'll be quite good. Not looking forward to. About the game, just hopefully no more bad news about injuries. Will Calafiori and Gabriel be fit? How's Odegaard? How's Odegaard going to be? So I'm not really looking forward to get another game without those guys. But then we've got Everton at the weekend. So as you said, Monaco. they're doing okay. So in terms of where they are, they're like second in Ligue 1, where they've sort of played 14, won 9, drew 2, lost 3. Goals for 24, goals against 12. So they're second behind PSG by 5 points. Their away form in Ligue 1, 1, 4, lost 2, but this is Ligue 1, so in the Champions League. So let's look at Champions League, which is more relevant. Yeah, I mean they're sitting 9th, similar points to us, and only one goal behind on goal difference. So they've had some really good performances in the Champions League. So they beat Barcelona on match day 1. They beat Bologna away. Beat Red Star Belgrade at home 5-1, but then also they lost at home 3-2 to Benfica, and I think they were winning 2-0 or 3-2 at home to Benfica, and then they drew 2-2 against Dynamo Zagreb away, who aren't that great either. So they sort of had some good results, and we also had some mixed results. So we should have too much for them, but at home, I think we find, and I think look at this. If we win this and we win our next one, that's a long way to guaranteeing 8th in the top 8 place. So I think we will go for it. We will be going for it. Any thoughts on what you think the lineup might be? Would you start Jesus and give Havertz a rest? Would you start Waneri? Would you start Waneri? Over Odegaard if Odegaard is suffering? What would you think we might do from a formation?
As you said that, I kind of giggled and I thought there's not a hope. But do you know what? It wouldn't surprise me if Jesus started, because you said earlier on, and I think you're right, that Arteta is trying to play him into form. It's not happening. But, it might just take Jesus one moment, one goal, even one assist, something to spark him into life. He'll feel the love of the crowd earlier on. You said earlier on that he's, he needs love. He's a very emotional player. So, maybe he will. I think Arteta will go similar again in terms of that he'll play Havertz, and he'll play. I was going to say he'll play Martinelli, but I don't know. I think he may even play Trossard instead of Martinelli. But yeah, I just hope that we can pick up the overall performance. We need a big, not just a big win, but a big performance from the players after today.
No, indeed. I think maybe Merino again. Is Merino fit?
Yeah.
I would think Merino starts. But yeah, I think a lot of it stems from which of our defenders is fit, and then that will determine. That will push all the way through the rest of the team.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
What's worrying is this. I haven't seen anything, like I say, from today. I left the house and I went straight to do the gig, but I haven't seen any mention of what's wrong with Gabriel and Calafiori and any length of time. Like, I know Arteta keeps his cards close to his chest, but have you heard anything? Has anything been said?
No, nothing. I think, as you said, they keep it close to the chest. Don't know. They always come off and you think it's a bit niggly. Don't know how much today. I think, as we said, do you want to nurse someone over a load of games, or do you just want to make sure that they're properly fit? And I'm just hoping that they're properly fit. And look, the team we had today was good enough to beat Fulham. What cost us was not finishing off the chances.
Yeah,
that's it. So again, so it's a tough one. Saka's goal is allowed. The narrative and what we're talking about today is very, very different. So those are the margins between, oh my God, everything's shit, to, oh my God, everything's great. Yeah, just toenail offside. It wasn't a toenail, but do you know what I mean? And the narrative so much changes based on the scoreline. Okay, the scoreline will mask a few things, but also it will prove some things, and it will say, okay, and then you got confidence and you move on, and actually some of those things that it's masking sort of goes away because you're winning. No one's saying about Liverpool, they're just utterly reliant on Mo Salah. Everyone just says, "Oh, what a great team!" So there's you scratch beneath the surface on a lot of things. You might find things that you don't want to find, or that will sometimes go away over time. So there we go. Look, in terms of Monaco, actually, I forgot about this until I looked at this today. They've obviously got following Balogun, so from ex Arsenal, who's their second top scorer. Well, I say they've got him. He plays for them, but he's out injured with a shoulder injury, so he might not be playing. I think they've got the Embolo, which I think is the Swiss attacker who plays for them. Golovin, I remember him from somewhere, but I think he's good. But he's like their top-rated midfielder. To be honest, I don't really know too much about their team, but they said performances in the Champions League have been pretty good in places. But we should still be the better team. And isn't it funny? Again, we're playing one of the topper teams, like Atalanta in 5th, Inter Milan are 2nd, Sporting were in the top 8 when we played them last. Monaco are 9th. It just sums up our season, if you ask me. It's just like, bloody hell, why can't we play shit teams like PSG and Real Madrid, who are like in 24th and 25th? Can you imagine? So there we go. So look,
and it's the Arsene Wenger derby as well.
Oh yes, indeed. Yes,
I wonder will Arsene make a trip over and have a look at it? Maybe not.
We'll see. Well, let's hope so. Give us some good luck. So, what would be your prediction for the game?
I am going to go with Champions League. We should beat them, but because it's Champions League, the quality is always quite high. There's a handful of teams that are terrible, but I'm going to go. So I'm going to go 2-0.
Yeah, 2-0. That sounds about right. I'm going to be a bit more optimistic. I think I will go 3-0. But yeah, we'll see 2-0, 3-0. Yeah, I think we should have too much for them. I think we'll want the 3 points because I think we really want to avoid that playoff clash in those 2 games. So I think we win the next one, and then drone or maybe a free hit. So let's just see. So so there we go. Right. Well, I finished my wine. So I might have to go and pour myself another one, just a wee nightcap as I go off to watch the rest of the NFL.
And I'm drinking water, but I don't think even Jesus can turn this into wine.
not the one we've got. It can maybe turn into shit, but that's about it. But there we go. So on that note, Ian, where can people find you on the socials?
People can find me on all the socials at ArsCannonPicks. I'm mainly active on X, but I am on Blue Sky and Threads and Instagram and so on. But yeah, at ArsCannonPicks.
Very good, very good. And you can follow The Grove at The Grove ASC on the various Blue Sky threads, not so much on X, etc., etc. So next show out will be following Monaco. Monaco's Wednesday, I believe. So we'll get this out. We'll get this out tonight and Sunday evening, Monday morning, and then we'll do a Monaco review Thursday and a preview of what is usually a pretty good game for Arsenal against Sean Dyche's Everton coming up this weekend. So all that leaves me to say is thank you very much for making it this far. Thank you for your patronage, and Ian, thank you for your time.
You're very welcome, Tabs. It's always great to be on.
Very good, very good. And yes, well, cheer up, everyone. It's not over yet. So until the next time, come on, you Gunners.